Yeah, what's going on, Underworld crew? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a fun stasis build for you, but I would like to preface it with this video isn't going to be an endgame build. I've been using this build in my day-to-day play sessions. Yes, you can use this build in higher end content, but you have to play a bit safe. I definitely wouldn't bring this into GMs, but everything up to like the coil and a little bit above that, I'd say maybe a Master Nightfall, but definitely not no GM or day one raid. Like I said, it's fun, but it's not high-end content, completely destroy the game at GM and day one raid levels. It's just something you would use for fun. Now, let's get into the purpose of this build. Stasis did get some changes in Season of the Wish on top of some artifact mods that came with the season that are also based around Stasis. This build involves an exotic that you guys probably have either A, never used, or B, have not used in a long time. I'm talking about Hoarfrost Z. This exotic replaces your barricade with a giant wall of stasis crystals and gives you the same bonuses as a regular rally barricade. Now, my specific weapon choice for this build was Aggro Scepter. It freezes enemies around the person that you kill with the weapon. If you also have the Catalyst, it'll drain your super on holding reload and increase the damage and slow and freeze targets on impact. Here are some suggestions for weapons that you could use if you do not have Aggro Scepter. The weapons I would suggest is Verglass Curve, the stasis bow that allows you to shoot stasis crystals on hipfire after you get precision kills. Or, now before I say this, do not close out the video. I am telling you this preemptively. If you close out the video, you're going to miss out on great content. Hear me out. Do not turn off the video. You could use Salvation Scrape. Now wait. Before you press the X button, it did give some buffs back in Season of the Deep that no one even talked about, and I've been using it, and it's actually pretty good. These changes ended up being a complete rework to the weapon. Now when you charge the weapon, it'll shoot out a pattern of ice crystals in the pattern of bowling pins. You guys know what I'm talking about when you're going bowling. And now when you tap the trigger, it'll shoot out basically a bowling ball to break all those crystals. Now as you get closer into the build, you will understand that the big purpose of this build is shatter damage and making as much crystals as possible. And with this exotic, you can do so. And because of that, it is a great substitution for Aggro Scepter or Verglass Curve if you don't have it. And I recommend that you even try it, even if you do like those weapons, just give it a try because the changes was pretty good and they kind of went under the radar. Bungie did their thing with this, I'm not gonna lie. These are some great weapons that I would recommend to switch out if you don't have access to Aggro Scepters. And even if you don't have access to any of these weapons, I would recommend any weapon with Headstone, because at the end of the day, the purpose of this build is to make and break crystals and kill a lot of enemies while you're doing them. So as long as you have at least Headstone, the build will work. Now for some armor substitutions. If you guys don't have access to Hoarfrost Z, the next best thing should be Armamentarium. Since we're going to be using glacial grenades, Hoarfrost Z basically just puts up a glacial grenade anyway, and if you could just use another glacial grenade with Armamentarium, it'll work the same. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's just about making and breaking crystals. I think it's time we finally talk about the mods for this build. Feel free to change these to fit to your playstyle as you see fit, and if you find something that might work better, let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, remember to hit the like and the sub button as well as notification bell, because it helps get the video out to other people so they can use the build too. Now, for my helmet, I have a minor recovery mod, a dynamo mod for more super energy, a special ammo finder, and a stasis siphon. For my arms, I have a resilience mod, a firepower mod for orbs or grenade kills, and a bolstering detonation for class ability energy. For the chest piece, I have a discipline mod, stasis reserves for more Aggro Scepter ammo, and a charged up mod to increase the amount of armor charges I can hold, along with the harmonic resistance just to fill in the slot. The boots have a resilience mod, better already to regen health when I pick up an orb, stacks for stacks which gives me 2 armor charges instead of 1 when I pick up an orb, and lastly, intervention, the mod that decreases your grenade cooldown when I pick up orbs. My class item also has a resilience mod, but also has a special finisher so I can create more ammo for me and my allies, distribution to give me ability energy to all my abilities when I cast my barricade near enemies, along with bomber, which does the same exact thing but for grenade energy. Some key artifact mods that I recommend you grabbed are Wished into Being. This mod will drop 3 orbs of power when you get an ability kill when your super is 75% full. This 75% threshold can be lowered if you have or Season of the Wish armor. Pillar of Ice is also a mod I suggest. It spawns stasis crystals when you kill a frozen enemy. Hail of Storms also increases the amount of damage dealt from shattering crystals and enemies. When you break a crystal, it also slows enemies if they somehow don't die from the increased damage. Now, I know what you're thinking, Ghost, why aren't you using the perk Dragon's Bite? This perk makes it so when you break a shield of a stasis or strand weapon, it has a chance to freeze or suspend the target. The main reason why I don't use this one is also because I don't have enough slots, but the main one is it doesn't proc that often. It seems like an incredibly low chance, but it does also increase the chances when you have Season of the Witch armor on. I just don't have a good set of armor with good stats. Along with, I still don't think it's that high of a chance to proc to begin with, so I just moved on without it. The subclass that we're going to be using is of course Stasis, and I also said before we're using Glacial Grenade. Now I do recommend you use the aspects Cryochlasm so you can easily shatter crystals and frozen targets by sliding into them. But the second fragment is kind of up to you, but I kind of lead it towards Diamond Lance, which spawns Stasis Spears that you can throw at enemies to freeze them, along with slamming them in the ground to do the same. But the main reason I'm using it is because of the extra fragment slot. Speaking of fragments, let's talk about those. We're going to be using Whisper of Fissures to increase the damage and range of Stasis crystals when I break them. And just to let you know, this does stack with the Halo Storm mod we got from the artifact, which is even better. Whisper of Refraction grants class ability energy when you defeat frozen or slow targets, which will also be happening a lot. Whisper of Bond spawns an orb of power whenever you kill a frozen target. Whisper of Chains lets you take reduced damage when you're near a Stasis crystal, which will also be all the time. But last but not least, we have Whisper of Shards. This aspect increases the speed of your grenade regenerates for a short time up to a maximum of 10 seconds when you break a Stasis crystal. As like I said before, this will be all the time. The armor stats you want to focus on are resilience to stay alive longer and to also decrease the recharge time on your barricade, recovery to get your health back faster, and discipline to get your grenade back faster as well. Now that we have all the mods slotted in, let's talk about how the build works. It's pretty simple. Spawn in some Stasis crystals and then start breaking them. You can either throw your glacial grenade onto the floor where the enemies are, get you to freeze all those enemies in place, and then slide into them like the giant wrecking ball you are. Doing so should kill all the adds that were encased in the ice when you threw it at them, as well as the adds surrounding the area, because they deal so much damage from Whisper of Fissures on top of Halo Storm. And if they don't die, they'll be slowed, so they're easy pickings. If the activity is a bit more difficult, I recommend bringing a weapon that is good at shattering crystals from afar. I recommend a wave frame grenade launcher like for Barons. They're also really good at shattering crystals and dealing damage. Breaking crystals will start your increased grenade regen, and a kill with those crystals will increase your barricade recharge rate. So you just keep spamming crystals everywhere and covering the battlefield nice. Now, if there's a time that you do run out of grenade energy or barricade energy, this is where you use your Agriceptor or your exotic of choice. Using Agricept as an example, this trace rifle will slow and freeze enemies around the enemy that you killed. Killing those frozen or slowed enemies will give you class ability energy because of Whisper of Refraction, and if you kill the frozen enemy, a Stasis crystal will spawn because of Pillar of Ice, and then breaking that crystal will give you increased grenade recharge speed because of Whisper of Shards. You see what I'm getting at here? It's a giant engine that does not stop going until you stop killing. I have so much fun with this build because it's a perfect mix for me of abilities and gunplay. To me, it's just extremely fun putting up walls of ice everywhere and then sliding into them, killing everyone around me. Now, while it may not be much fun for my teammates because they can't see what they're shooting at, but for me, I'm having a blast. With this build, you also have pretty good crowd control. And don't even forget to mention the fact that Behemoth also does pretty good damage if you know how to use it. The key to getting the most amount of damage out of Behemoth is to find the distance between you and the target. Once you figure that out, you can place yourself right at the sweet spot to where the crystals spawn and spam your heavy. While you're spamming your heavy, the crystals will break themselves because the other crystals are spawning there, doing incredible damage, like I said, from Whisper of Fissures and Hail of Storm. Now, the sad part is that this build may fall apart at the end of the season because the seasonal mods are very good and help to keep the build going. But on the bright side, this season is 7 months, so you guys have some good time to get some use out of it. That's the build. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. This build will only get better as they continue to buff Stasis in the future. Ever since Subclass 3.0 came out and then Strand, Stasis has kind of become the forgotten stepchild of Destiny. And I'm glad I can make this build to bring it back to its glory, even if it's just a smidge. Thanks for watching the video, everyone. Remember to have a good one and stay spooky. Peace.